You know, you see it more and more these days. Families wanting to live closer, to really connect, but in a way that actually works for the modern world. It's all about bringing back that tight-knit community feel, and it has a name, the family compound. So today, we're going to break down this incredible idea. I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? The whole idea of having your loved ones just a short walk away, each in their own home, sharing land and sharing life. It's a beautiful dream for sure, but man, it's also a massive undertaking. So we're going to walk through exactly what it takes to turn that vision into a reality. So here's our game plan. We'll start by defining what a compound really is. Then we'll weigh the amazing pros against some very real cons. After that, we'll dive into the legal maze, the pro team you absolutely need, the financial blueprint, and finally, how to build this thing to last for generations. All right, first things first. Before you even think about blueprints or breaking ground, you have to get crystal clear on the definition. Because, it's so much more than just a big piece of property with a few houses on it. So the key thing to understand here is that it's not one giant mansion with a bunch of wings. No, it's more like a private, miniature neighborhood just for your family, where everyone has their own front door. It's all about creating that community while really truly respecting everyone's individual space. Let's break this down even further. For it to be a real compound, you need all four of these things. 1. Multiple, separate homes. 2. Everybody's on the same piece of shared land. 3. You've got those awesome shared spaces, maybe a pool, a garden, a workshop that bring everyone together. And 4, now this last one is absolutely crucial, a shared legal and financial structure to manage the whole shebang. Okay, so the dream is beautiful, right? But now it's time for a little reality check. A compound can be an incredible way to live, but it also comes with a unique set of challenges that your family has to be really honest about. And this slide lays it all out, the good and the challenging. On one hand, you've got this built-in support system, you can pool your money for land and amenities you could never afford alone, and you get this amazing sense of security. You're literally building a legacy. But on the flip side, you have to actively work to create privacy, the finances can get super complicated, you have to navigate feeling drama, and let's be real, selling one of these homes later on can be tricky. All right, listen up, because this next part is maybe the most important section of all. Before you fall in love with a piece of land, you have to figure out the legal side. This is the first, and honestly, it's often the biggest hurdle you'll face. And here it is, the big one, the fundamental problem you've got to solve. You can't just buy a 5-acre lot that's zoned for a single-family home and then decide to build 3 houses on it. The county, the city, they just won't let you. So the question is, how do people actually pull this off? Well, you've basically got 3 main paths you can take. The most common is subdivision. You take one big property and legally chop it up into smaller individual lots, where each one is allowed to have a house. A much harder route is rezoning, where you actually ask the government to change the rules for your specific piece of land. Or if you're looking way out in the country, some agricultural zoning laws are a bit more flexible about adding homes for family. Let me be super clear about this. This is not, and I repeat, not a DIY project. Trying to cut corners here is just a recipe for absolute disaster. You need a team of pros, so let's look at who needs to be on your dream team. Think of these folks as your essential puzzle pieces. Your attorney is your legal shield, handling all the zoning and ownership stuff. The surveyor and engineer are the ones who map everything out and figure out where roads and utilities go. Your architect is the visionary who designs houses that fit each family but also look like they belong together. And the builder, they're the quarterback who takes all those plans and makes it all happen. Okay, let's talk money. The big questions, right? How much is this going to cost? And where in the world does the money come from? The answers are definitely a little different than just buying a regular house. Your costs are going to fall into these 4 main buckets. First, you've got to buy the land. Then, and this can be a huge one, you have site prep. That's stuff like building a road or bringing in power and water. Then, of course, there's the cost of building the actual houses. And finally, the fun stuff, all those shared amenities like a pool or landscaping that make it feel like a real community. So, how do you pay for it? Usually with something called a construction loan. Now, you don't just get a big bag of cash. The bank releases money in stages, called draws, as you get things done. So once an inspector signs off that the foundation is poured, you get the money for the framing, and so on. Then, when it's all built, that short-term loan gets converted into a normal, everyday mortgage for each family. All right, with all that heavy lifting on the legal and money side done, now we get to the really fun part, designing and building this thing.
But it's also about setting up the rules that are going to make sure your compound works for, generations to come. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with the site plan. Think of it as the master map for your little world. It's how you strategically place the houses to get the best views, but also use trees and landscaping to give everyone their privacy. And just as a rule of thumb, you probably want to start looking at land that's at least 2 to 5 acres, just to have enough breathing room. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. Because this is such a huge, long-term commitment, you can't just build it and hope everything works out. You need a plan. You need a rule book.
Think of this as your family's constitution. It's a legally binding document that your attorney helps you create, and it answers all the tough questions ahead of time. How do we split the cost of mowing the big lawn? What are the rules for the pool? And maybe most importantly, what happens if someone has to leave because of a death, divorce, or a new job? You figure this all out now to avoid huge fights later.
And this is the classic what if that stops a lot of families right in their tracks. What happens? I mean, you don't want to go through all this effort just to have a complete stranger move into the middle of your family sanctuary. Well, there's a really elegant legal solution for that. It's called a right of first refusal. All it means is that if someone needs to sell, they have to offer to sell their house to the other family members on the compound first before they can ever put it on the open market. It's how you protect the privacy and the whole point of the compound for the long haul. So, when you boil it all down, making this dream a reality really comes down to these 3 things. 1, meticulous, almost obsessive planning from day 1. 2, hiring a team of pros who've actually done this before. And 3, and this is the big one, constant, open, and sometimes difficult, but always honest communication with your family. Because in the end, a family compound is so much more than a bunch of houses. It's a foundation. It's an anchor for your family, a place for support and memories and shared joy for years to come. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build on it?